Tinubu Chicago State University certificate saga that has been going on for some time now. This time around, he has objected to the release of his certificate, those records being released to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. He doesn't want the Chicago State University to release the entire record. He wants them to release specific records, the diploma. He wants them to limit the release to the diploma certificate. The question is, if there's nothing to hide, why do you have to give specifications to the court? Why do you, if I've been to school, I can point out one or two persons who were my classmates. I'll be able to tell you my lecturers, I'll be able to tell you my professors, I'll be able to tell you my course advisor, I'll be able to tell you a whole lot of things. And so if people request my certificates, my records, because I was actually aspiring for particular political positions, I should be able to oblige them the opportunity to verify or to request those records. But because a lot of things have been shady all along, and you know the kind of country we are, if you get the power, you can bypass a lot of things. But there are some people that when they stand on your neck, oh my God, they will never let you rest. If there's nothing to hide, why give the court specific areas of those records to release? I want you to just listen carefully to Arise News. Mr. Rufai Husseini, Dr. Abati, and Ayo. Listen to their opinions. Do your own comparison yourself. For me, I've listened to it, and I was able to draw my own points from it, because at the end of the day, one will support and one will be against. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk too much, guys. I just want you to take your time. Listen to this very carefully. You understand what I'm saying. But my point is that if there is nothing hidden, why will the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, try to kind of shield, these records from being released to the public, from being released to the PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi himself? You see, it shows clearly the kind of country we are, and yet we talk about corruptions. Don't let me talk too much, guys. Try as much as possible to watch the video, leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.
President Bola Tinubu yesterday objected to the release of his Chicago State University CSU records to the candidate of People's Democratic Party PDP in the last presidential election, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Tinubu pleaded that if the court was inclined to grant Atiku's application for discovery, it should be limited to only his diploma certificate submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in aid of his qualification for the 2023 presidential election, which he won. But Director of Research and Documentation, Atiku Okowa Presidential Campaign Organization, Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, said the reason Atiku insisted on open and full disclosure of Tinubu's credentials by the CSU was because they actually belonged to a woman. Obaseki made the allegation during a Zoom conference hosted by London-based psychologist Professor Gold Emmanuel. All right, so Rufai, many things being questioned here. Number one is, okay, the first was, did he attend? CSU says he attended. Number two is present certificate, don't present it. Now they're saying it's a woman that was actually Bola Tinubu at the time. Anyway, according to Don Pedro.
That's Don Pedro Obaseki speaking. What will make us ascertain who is when that document is released. And please, it's not about Atiku Abubakar. It's about the integrity of the seat of the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is a cry for all Nigerians. It is sad enough that the President legal team has said it's going to cause him irreparable damage. I keep asking, for what irreparable damage? For your own results and transcript to be released? If you're a private citizen, nobody cares about your transcript and your result. But now you are a public citizen. You belong to us Nigerians. And we have a right to scrutinize all of your documents. And why are you hiding it? In the space of 3 days, 2 appeals against releasing the document. Now you are saying, only release the one limit it to the one I submitted to. No, the whole thing must be in public glare for accountability's sake. Isn't it sad enough that they are reporting the case on American media? We're having certificate discrepancy as regards the office of the President of Nigeria. What is going on? So President Tinubu, you claimed that you are an A-class student. You are very cerebral. We want to see your glowing academic records in your transcripts. That's all. We've had some schoolmates come out and say that they went to school with you at the same time and all of that. There's even a document circulating that somebody filed and said, oh, under oath, I was this. Let's see the glowing academic record you claim you have, pure and simple. Because this is the seat of the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria here. So when there are people that say they need a document, I think you should be wholeheartedly release it to them and the whole document so that they can see everything, not just limited it to some. Because this is getting shocking by the day. This should be a no-brainer. In fact, before now, and this is not about Atiku Abubakar, this is about the integrity of the seat of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. CSU claimed you came there, you graduated from there. So, hey, why is your school documents and credentials a problem?
This is a matter of law. It's not about sentiments or emotions or personal opinion. We're dealing with two different jurisdictions here. And as I've pointed out before in this particular forum, you know, there are issues in the law of international civil litigation about forum, about jurisdictions and all of that. I don't need to bore you with the details again this morning. If you look at the U.S. system, under the U.S. system, you have your right to privacy. Except that right to privacy can only be, you know, breached in the public interest. The U.S. is not in a position, whether it's the district court of the Eastern Division or whatever division, to determine the public interest of Nigeria in this particular case. So what Tinubu's counsel have done is to simply say that, look, he has a right to privacy, which is respected in the U.S. jurisdiction. He has not said don't release the records, but he's saying, look, limit it to the diploma, which is relevant here. Because according to his counsel, what was declared in the INEC form is the diploma. So just restrict it to it. After all, I imagine that what they are saying is that it's not Atiku Abubakar that paid the school fees. So if he paid his own school fees, he is entitled, as a matter of right, to his own academic records. Okay? That's one point that is very clear. But we wait what Judge Maldonado, would decide at the end of the day. The second point here is that Tinubu's counsel are saying that Magistrate Jeffrey Gilbert erred in law by providing, giving a 48-hour ultimatum that all relevant documents and records should be released. That's the second issue before the present court, to determine. Okay? And third, Tinubu's counsel are also questioning the basis for this discovery request, or the order of mandamus requested for discovery for use in a foreign jurisdiction, which is a very important point in international law of civil litigation. And they are saying, look, it's of no moment within the Nigerian jurisdiction, because you will recall that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal had ruled that, look, Tinubu and his running mate were fit and proper persons eligible to run and have been validly elected. So if you go to the Supreme Court, Tinubu's counsel are saying it cannot be used because the Supreme Court is not a court of evidence. You are required to have front-loaded your evidence and pleadings at the lower court. So this is the situation, but let us not prejudge what the court will come up with. But what Tinubu's counsel what they have done within the province of the law is, perfectly within their rights to do so. Okay? The critical issue that they have also raised is a point about whether whatever discovery comes out of this can be used in a court of law in Nigeria. Now, the major point that Don Pedro Obaseki made was that, look, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, if it is confronted with, compelling facts, may consider fresh evidence. I have made this same point on this platform, that this will be under exceptional circumstances, and the judgment in that regard is left to the Supreme Court, that will consider the weight of the evidence, the relevance of it, and the admissibility. So it's not as if it is automatic. So if their lordships decide that, look, this is irrelevant, then of course they are not bound by what a court in a foreign jurisdiction tells them. What they will consider will be whether not considering that discovery will amount to a miscarriage of justice. So it's entirely at the discretion of that appeals court. And that's why I keep saying nobody should get carried away about all of this. Now, Don Pedro Obaseki is saying, oh, the reason they want to bring this out is because that Bola Tinubu was a woman. Okay, that's his claim. Nobody has established that. So let us wait for the discovery first before we begin to jump to conclusions. And this is not new. Barack Obama, when he was seeking to be president of the United States, there were issues, similar issues. The Republicans wanted his academic records. He found himself in this same situation. And he said, no, his privacy should be respected. People who did not pay his school fees should not come and be asking for his academic records. It was the same with President Trump. It was the same thing with President Bush. They have something in the US they call Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FEPA. It is under that, that these persons argue that access to a student's records can be limited. If you didn't pay my school fees, don't come and say, bring all the records. So in other words, Tinubu's counsel have not done anything that is extraordinary. What Bush, Trump, and Obama pleaded was that, look, this was opposition people trying to do mischief. And it is precisely the same line that Tinubu's counsel have told. They are saying this is busybody, a fishing expedition by opposition people. So within the province of law, these are the issues that will be considered, not sentiments. This is the gravamen of the matter, in my view.
All right. So beyond sentiment, I think that when we leave situations like this open, and there seems to be a keen attempt to stop the unveiling of the details of the record of the academic records of the president, it would leave room for speculation. Speculation, as has been done now by Dr. Pedro Obaseki, who is now saying that the person who is actually called Bola Tinubu, who went to CSU, is actually female. Now, if I were in the president's position, and of course I'm not president, I wasn't elected by, millions of people to be president, I would release my results just to demonstrate, number one, that I'm a person of integrity. Law aside, as has been said, it's beyond the election tribunal. This is a matter of national embarrassment, whereby you claim you went to a particular school and it's difficult to give the details just to shush, talks and international embarrassment. We become the butt of jokes across different platforms that we cannot defend a simple certificate, in quote. And so I don't think there should be a need to have to go to court to ask you to present a certificate or to release the records of a university that you went to. It's mind-boggling for me personally, and I think for a number of young Nigerians, it would be the same for them, that if you are working in the private sector and you were asked to present your certificates, you wouldn't tell your boss that, oh, I don't want you to enter, because for me, it's quite mind-boggling, I think, for a number of people. And so what has been or was an election matter is now almost a show of, okay, now you give people room for speculations, mockery, desecration. We have talked about the fact a number of times that we must elevate the office of the president, whereby already you have a pass, with a school cert, you can be president. But then you showed a certificate to say that, and rightfully so, if you went to university, of course you should be proud of your diploma. Now, the access to your records has now become, if you can declare your assets, if you can show health records in certain situations where some people voluntarily show their health records, what is the big deal about a certificate? It's much ado about nothing. So to, kill these unnecessary distractions from the process of governance, present the certificate. Let us have access to it and continue with governance.